Hello, and thank you for tuning in. On behalf of all of us at Books and Books, I welcome you to a virtual event with Zibby Owens and Meaghan Murphy. Zibby Owens is the CEO of Moms Don't Have Time To, a media company she founded featuring podcasts, publications, and communities. Zibby hosts the award-winning podcast Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books and Moms Don't Have Time to Lose Weight. She's the author and editor of anthology Moms Don't Have Time To, a quarantine anthology, where all proceeds of which go to the Susan Felice Owens program in honor of her late mother-in-law. She is the editor-in-chief of Moms Don't Have Time to Write, a Medium publication, and founder of the Zibby Awards, celebrating the overlooked parts of books. She also founded the Moms Don't Have Time to Fellowship, named one of New York City's top bookfluencers by Vulture and an Oprah's list of top podcasts 2 years in a row. Zibby is a frequent contributor to Good Morning America, The Washington Post, and other media outlets. She has 2 children's books forthcoming and another anthology, Moms Don't Have Time to Have Kids, debuting this year. Zibby currently lives in New York with her husband and her 4 children. Meaghan B. Murphy is a longtime magazine editor, writer, on-air lifestyle expert, podcaster, certified trainer, and author of Your Fully Charged Life. Currently the editor-in-chief at A Woman's Day magazine, Murphy is a media veteran who previously served as executive editor of Good Housekeeping. She lives with her husband and their 3 children and fur baby in Westfield, New Jersey. Throughout today's broadcast, you're invited to ask questions by using the Ask a Question feature at the bottom of the screen, and you can order copies of Zibby's books by pressing the green button below. We appreciate each and every order and the generous donations from viewers everywhere. And now, without further ado, let me invite our authors to the screen.
Hi. Hey, Meaghan, how are you?
Well, hey, Zibby, I'm pretty great. How about you?
I did not know you were a certified personal trainer.
Yeah, because I was the fitness director and the deputy editor of Self magazine for 9 years. So I've been a certified trainer for 17 years. I used to make workout videos with Jillian Michaels and Tone It Up and Sean.
No way.
So I've been a fitfluencer for a very long time. Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, you could be a fitfluencer without actually doing the stuff, but
I was like legit the fitness director for 9 years. So I'm kettlebell certified, spin certified, American Council on Exercise certified. I like exercise.
Wow. So you can just come over and be my trainer.
I mean, I would love that. Although we would probably just like chit chat and maybe not work out enough.
That sounds like my perfect training session ever. This is why I don't have a personal trainer. Okay, Meaghan, your book, Your Fully Charged Life, and my book, Moms Don't Have Time To, are like little siblings in this sort of ocean of book releases. They're like floating on their own little raft with the same overall mission, I think, which is to help women, particularly moms, women, people live better lives. And like make the most of the time we have on this earth, essentially, in ways, different ways, shapes, and forms. So my book is divided into 5 sections. Thank you. Oh, you see, you're so prepared. I'm like here in my.
I love your book because I have like attention span issues, and I love that I can dive in and out of essays, and I don't ever have to feel guilty that like I've lost my train of thought and put it down and picked it up in the wrong spot. This is like for me.
This is like a book for the ADHD era,
Yeah.
Also this time where like there's been so much going on. Who has time to focus? However, your book also meets that because in every chapter you give this like boost of inspiration and ideas and quotes and da-da-da-da-da. So I feel like you're also tapping into the short attention span.
I think it's because I've been like a service journalist for 25 years at places like Self and Cosmo and Good Housekeeping and Teen People. And so my brain works in sound bites, like My Life with Kelly and Ryan or my Today Show segments. It's like, if you don't get it out in 3 minutes, you're done. So that's the way my brain processes information. So
People have probably already left us. We haven't even talked fast enough.
I know.
2 minutes.
We didn't get enough nuggets in. It's all about the nuggets. Oh, but somebody dropped a heart, so maybe
thank you.
Is still there, Christina Powers.
Thank you, Christina Powers. That's funny.
Oh, we're here! Yay! See, we can't see you, so that's.
I know. We felt like we were by ourselves, just chatting, which would be fine. We could just like keep this up all night. Oh, hey, Sam. This is great. Okay, so on the offhand chance that anyone here is not familiar with your book, Your Fully Charged Life, aside from the mandate of making people's lives better, what should people absolutely know about your book that they might not know?
So Your Fully Charged Life is essentially a happiness handbook. It's a toolkit for living your best life. It's not a manual. It's not a program. It's not a plan. It is actionable advice. One little tip, one little trick is going to stick with you and help make tomorrow more awesome. The fun part is that it's all based in positive psychology and neuroscience, but I like to say it's been fun filtered. So it's news you will actually use presented in a real life context. So I'm going to give you lots of examples, real life examples that you might relate to that might help you put the service into action. It's all about creating momentum, prioritizing positivity, and realizing that there is yay to be found in every day, and I'm going to hold your hand and get you there.
I love that. A yay for every day. I mean, why not? This is my yay today. Just chat.
Yeah. Well, and we're like such book sisters because we both also got COVID upon our releases. So I mean, I was at your book party where you were still sick, and I was like, oh my goodness, why are our lives so parallel? How did we both get
so weird, right?
COVID right before launch? Like, what?
I know. Crazy. Yeah. Well, I knew I'd survive because I had you to,
Right? I was your COVID mentor. Thank you very much.
Exactly. My COVID mentor. What an illustrious spot. Time and space. So in my book, which is a collection of essays, for those who don't know, by 60 authors who had previously been on my podcast pre-pandemic, all writing on different topics, 5 different topics, mostly inspired loosely by these topics. Moms don't have time to eat, work out, breathe, have sex, and read. So I was hoping from your use your news approach and finding tips and living our best life and yay, that you could give some maybe examples or ways that you've found to make these topics yay for you. So let's start with, since you're like the workout guru now of all time, which how do we find our yay in working out? How do we fully charge that? It's like such a drag to have to do half the time. So.
Oh my gosh, no, it's a get to do. It's not a have to do.
Okay, so that's my first mistake.
Right? And in the health charge chapter in my book, I really do talk about movement as non-negotiable. Movement is medicine, pure and simple. I mean, all the science supports that. The key is moving, right? Like, and if that means it's a Zumba class for you, if it means it's walking the dog, if it means it's triathlons or running, whatever that looks like for you, the key is understanding that movement is mood magic, it is medicine, and is non-negotiable. I give lots of strategies and tips and tricks to help it become a part of your lifestyle. And it is simple things like changing your I have to work out till I get to work out. When I was sick in bed with COVID, I mean, I would have done anything to be able to walk a mile around the block, right? I couldn't, I was sick. So when I get to do that, when I get to be healthy enough to put one foot in front of the other and get outside, wow, how lucky am I? Sometimes something as simple as reframing something that seems like a chore can help propel you forward.
I feel like just trying to figure out when to fit it in is my biggest challenge. How do you fit it in?
So I am all about the dawn patrol. I like to own my morning. And for me, that means I get up at 5:03. I also talk about protecting your sleep in the book. And I teach people how to train, to sleep train yourself the way you might have sleep trained a child. I go to bed around 10:17. I protect that. And I get up around 5:03 without an alarm.
Did you just say you go to bed around 10:17?
I start to get itchy. If it's like 10:15 and I have not washed my face and brushed my teeth, I'm like, it's time to shut up. It's time to shut up. Like, unless Brad Pitt was like, do you want to have a nightcap? I might budge on that rule. But like, really, it's that I protect that. It was funny too, because early in the pandemic, when I didn't have to commute to New York and I didn't necessarily have to get up that early, I started sleeping until 7. And I was moody and miserable. And I realized because I was getting these 2 extra hours of sleep that were completely throwing off my circadian rhythms, and I was unhappy. So whatever that number is for you, it can, like, you could go to bed at 1 a.m. and then sleep till whatever that looks. It's just about routine. It's about creating a routine around sleep. And so for me, I like to get up at 5:03. The kids are still sleeping. Nobody's texting me. Nobody's slacking me. Nobody's DMing me. Like, it's my time. So tomorrow I will get my ass up at 5:03. I will have a cup of coffee in quiet, and I will go to AKT, and I will shake my booty with my friend Dr. Amy, and nobody can stop me. And, like, that is my magic, right? Oh, there's notes. Oh, you like my shirt? Oh, Zibby, this is a Zibby shirt.
Yes, this shirt, by the way, just to market everything at the same time, is from Citizens of Humanity. And I partnered with them on this shirt, and 100% of the proceeds are going to COVID research, which is also where all the proceeds of my book are going. My mother-in-law passed away from COVID this last summer after a 6-week ordeal. And so my husband and I helped start this program for her at Mount Sinai Medical Center called Susan Felice Owens Program for COVID-19 vaccine research. And they are still developing a low-cost vaccine for developing nations administered through the nose. And they're in human trials now. All the animal trials went great. So it's still moving right along. So we're trying to help that out. So 100% of the proceeds from the shirt are going there. And
they're really cute. They're super, super cute.
Thank you. Thanks for wearing it.
I wear it everywhere, and then I try to sell them.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah. So I don't even know what that came with.
So we'll talk about exercise. Here's the thing. It's mood magic. You got to do it. It's non-negotiable. Nobody ever regrets the workout except the one they didn't do. And the key is figuring out what works for you. Try the mornings. Try it. There's different research about habit formation. I swear to God, it takes 19 days to cement a habit. In doing the self-challenge with hundreds of thousands of women for 9 years, if people could stick with something for 19 days, they formed a habit. Some researchers will tell you it's 60 days. Some people say it's 21. I just think the weird specificity of 19 cements a habit. Try something for 19 days and report back, because it is my unofficial field research.
Okay, 19 days. I'm on it. Let's talk about eating, because that also sort of I feel like my eating and working out are intertwined. Like if I'm working out, I tend to eat better. And if I'm, it all seems to be linked a little bit to me. I don't know. What can people do to make
so here's the thing. I think if you eat like crap, you'll feel like crap. But I also talk about, I recovered from a raging eating disorder. So I had I was in and out of hospitalizations. I lost my best friend to an eating disorder. So I am never going to tell you to deprive yourself. I am never going to tell you to exercise, to negate calories. It's basically, I really believe in intuitive eating and learning to listen to your body and listen to your hunger cues and treat yourself with grace and understand that, okay, maybe, there are sometimes foods and always foods. And if I'm going to eat more sometimes foods, then I might need to balance that with some more always foods. If I want the dessert and wine, maybe I don't have the French fries with my hamburger. But really starting to understand that, food is fuel. And if we treat it like that, and we even start to eat the way children do when they're hungry, with the exception of maybe trying to sneak the Oreo cookies in the pantry, James. But right, like
I was going to say, my kids are still eating chocolate bunnies, and it's like, when was Easter? Like, we don't even celebrate Easter. When was Easter? Anyway.
But like maybe that's okay, right? Yeah. So someone's trying to help their kids with balance. The way I try to explain it to my kids, and it seems to work, is that if you can teach them what food does, and sort of understand it from that perspective. So if food is fuel, okay, well then berries have antioxidants. What do antioxidants do? How do they work in your body? Bananas have potassium. Those leg cramps you woke up with in the middle of the night? Guess what? The banana helps that. What doesn't help that? The chocolate bunnies. And sort of when they start to just understand that food is truly fuel. And the same way you put gas in a car, you put fuel in your body. What does that look like? How does that change the way you approach food?
Can we go back to your eating disorders and your friend? Can you tell more about what happened in both of those?
I talk about that in the book quite a bit, because I think it was really sort of a catalyst for my transformation. And I know we talked about this on your podcast, but my nickname was Grumpy as a kid. I was an angsty, sullen, hot mess of a little human. And I had a raging eating disorder. I became anorexic to sort of quiet the negativity and the swirling turmoil in my brain that I didn't know how to cope with. And my best friend and I were partners in crime in this eating disorder business. And I was good at it because I'm good at things. If I care a lot, I'm good at things. And I wound up, passing out on a soccer field, and I was hospitalized. And our parents were best friends, and her parents called, my parents like, okay, we got to get her in this program with Meaghan. My friend calls me on the phone. She's like, oh, great, they're checking me in too. I'm like, it's not that bad. Just get here. We'll deal. And tragically, like, she jumped out of the car and died en route to the program. And so, that was, I was 16, and I'm dealing with like the loss of my best friend, the guilt surrounding, her death, and this, debilitating eating disorder. Ultimately, writing saved me. I wrote about that experience because writing has always been my mood magic and my medicine and the way I process things. I wrote a powerful essay about that experience, which then earned me a $10,000 scholarship and some national attention on an NBC special, which then springboarded my magazine career. YM Magazine called and they wanted me to tell my story. And I said, yeah, I'm going to write it and I'll be an intern. I'm showing up on Monday. Are we cool? And so from my mess, by making my mess my message and being open about that adversity, a lot of good things subsequently happened for me. And so I'm very grateful for that experience. And it clearly changes the way I approach food and eating and exercise now, because I'm very grateful to be healthy.
I know. I'm sorry. I know you've told me that whole story before, but I wanted you to share with everybody because it's so important. I mean, it also just, I feel like when we tell these stories about ourselves, you can it's like you reshift how you perceive somebody, right? Like knowing what you've gone through, or even just that. And that's just one of many things that we've all gotten to at this stage of our lives, right? But like, if you have that moment at age 16, like, okay, like it just like puts things.
Well, and I say that, so all the adversity that I've been through, they've given me the gift of perspective. They've given me the gift of gratitude. And, I often have some kind of traumatic bad experience that leads to something good. Like, I wasn't shocked that I got COVID, a week before my book launch when I'm supposed to be recording my audiobook. I'm like, okay, but there's gifts in all adversity. Let's see where this leads me, right? I'm going to unwrap it. Here we go.
I felt the same way. I was like, this is like a joke. I was like, there's a reason why. It's like, so I can spread the message to everybody else to be careful or something, right? It's like.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, I was like, okay, I'm going to destigmatize COVID. I'm going to wear it like a scarlet letter C with pride and, try to help other people get a toolkit for recovery. I mean, and I talk about that deeply in the book, is assigning purpose to your struggles as a way through.
I love what you just said a minute ago, making your mess your message. That is so great. It's very catchy too. It's a good.
I'm a magazine editor.
It's a good one.
I think we should definitely talk about sex too, because I was a sex editor at Cosmo.
Whoa. Okay.
And I did write a waterproof sex book. It was legitimately physically waterproof. We don't put them in my bio. Penguin Random House didn't necessarily want that one in my bio, but it was a waterproof board book of wet and wild sex positions.
Stop.
Oh, no, I'm serious.
You're a jack of many trades.
And the funny part is so in my book, in the health charge chapter, initially there was sex, but I had to cut 20,000 words, and my editor was like, I think maybe we could take some of that out. So there was a steamy shed scene that would have made my mother-in-law cringe that is not in the book anymore. And so maybe that's good.
Maybe that's the second book of the...
Right?
I don't know. Well, so like, what did you not include? Give us like a snippet of the cut of what's on the cutting room floor.
So sex, I think, is it's incredibly important. And I think sex is the same as exercise. It's a non-negotiable, right? And a healthy sex life is super important. I told a story about how my husband and I managed to fit it in, which sometimes was 7:30 in the morning in the shed in the backyard. And I'm going to go walk the dog, hon, in my spandex that I just came back from a workout that I know you can't resist. Can you meet me in the shed? And we would make out in the shed. We just had to get rid of the shed, and it was very sad.
I bet.
We had some fun times. And this is the moment where I really hope no children are standing outside my office door.
Yeah, I'm glad I did not send the link to this one to my daughter. Usually she watches one of my daughters. Oh my goodness. Wow. So that's like, it changes the whole definition of a she shed, right?
It was a shag shed.
Well, I started this podcast recently called Moms Don't Have Time to Have Sex. And it's like really, really funny. Anyway, you have to.
Exactly. I know
Okay.
and I talk very freely and openly about sex, and I love it because it'll make my friends go home and have sex. I think people need to talk about sex more, need to have more sex. Like, all good things come from sex, right? With your, it's a pheromone exchange. Sometimes you just need that feel-good chemical boost.
Yep. Okay. So moving through the categories now. Moving through. So reading. Talk to me about reading.
Well, I mean, like, reading is one of those things I always want more time to do. And I think that we sometimes have to treat ourselves with grace on this front. I give myself credit for reading now if I listen to an Audible.
Yes.
If I run with a book, if I exercise with a book, if I do carpool with a book. I at first I was like, it doesn't count. It's not reading. I need to be sitting down in my reading chair reading. And now I'm like, audiobooks count. Audiobooks is reading. Like, that counts because it's something I want to always make time for. I always feel better when I escape into a book, when I get to see other people's perspective. I nerd out over beautiful language, and I love writing. So I love to read, and it's one of those things I just want more time for always. I mean, I'm that person that, like, when I do go on vacation now, once in a blue moon when that gets to happen, I mean, I put physical hard books in my suitcase, like 12 of them. And if it's just me and my husband, I am like reading, sex, beach. Reading, sex, beach.
I just went away for the weekend and I brought like 7 books. I mean, I know I do it for my podcast, but still. Yeah.
And now you have to write your memoir too.
I am. Yeah, I'm doing that. I did part of that this weekend. It's so fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's interesting. I just wrote this whole thing last weekend, and I sold a memoir to Little A, an Amazon publishing imprint, called The Book Messenger, for anyone watching, which is coming out in probably late September, late 2022. But anyway, I had a very close friend in high school. The two of us were like a twosome she joined in 10th grade, and she also had a horrific eating disorder. And I would visit her at her inpatient treatment center. And I was writing this in the book because I was like, I don't know why, but my dad and I went up to visit her and they let us take her to Rye Playland for the afternoon. Why did they do that? And then she went back. Yeah, I know. I was like, why? What? I have to call her mom and be like, what happened? But anyway, she ended up jumping in front of a subway and dying. I know. So that was
your friend. Your friend that you lost in 9/11. This is not the same.
This is not the same friend, and she killed herself. Not even just a year after my other friend Stacy died on 9/11. Both of which while I was in business school. And so by the time I got out, I was just like, oh my God, I'm a mess. But I was, and then I went to college and majored in psychology and specialized in eating disorders. I think because yeah,
really,
yeah, I volunteered at the Yale Center for Eating and Weight Disorders, and I did a couple studies. My senior thesis was on the application of social comparison theory to eating situations, like how much we notice what other people eat. I thought I was going to be a PhD. This was going to be my thing because I couldn't fix Avery. Nothing I did was working. I mean, it wasn't so blatant, but I was like, oh, I happen to be interested in this, So
fascinating because that's the same thing that happened to my friend. She just jumped out of the car. I mean, she was like, nope.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk about it as suicide then, but I understand it as suicide now.
I mean, yeah, it's off. I mean, it's just awful. Anyway, back to reading.
And that's the thing; it's an addiction, and people spiral, and there seems to be no way out. And it's real, and it's scary. It's awful.
A friend mentioned that another friend of hers, who I don't really know, her daughter is now going through this and was hospitalized during COVID, and she was didn't show any signs of it before, and during COVID, something just shifted, and now she's in the hospital. Anyway, Yeah.
We should talk about something happy now. So we
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Okay, so audiobooks count. You love to read. You like to read real books too on vacation. So do I. Let's see. What's the other one? Breathe. So that's like just peace of mind. Like anything that breathing, yoga, whatever your breathe is. How do you get in your you time?
So my breathe is not necessarily breathing. I understand meditation, the benefits of meditation. I want to be more mindful. The way I really practice mindfulness and pausing is by changing my scenery to change the way I see things. So for me, if I find that I'm on autopilot, I just do something differently. So that means I park in a different spot at the grocery store. I run a different route. I walk in a opposite side of the street to the ATM machine. Because I find that the second I catch myself on autopilot where I'm not noticing life and I'm not present and I'm not pausing to take in my surroundings, that I need to change my scenery to change the way I see things.
I like that. I know I've tried to do meditation and yoga and I just can't. It's
hard.
It's hard. People who are devoted would probably say, then that's when you should do it or something. But I don't know.
I like Dan Harris, who wrote 10% Happier.
Yep.
I had him on my podcast, and like he made me feel like it was actionable and doable. And when I had COVID, I did download a meditation from YouTube, and I laid in bed, and I watched the blue light rinse over me, and I had a moment of like actually doing a meditation because every other tool in my toolkit was useless in that moment. Because I was so scared and so hopeless and so distraught. And it did help in that moment. On a regular basis, that's not something that works for me. And yoga only works for me if it's in person. Zoom yoga is like, I might as well be playing like chess and drinking wine. It doesn't do anything. But in a hot, sweaty yoga flow, I do feel that can be, so someone's saying yoga helps your 9-year-old. Like, you think that can be, fidget toys help my 9-year-old, I have to say. This whole fidget toy craze, and my goodness.
We've passed that with my older kids, and my younger kids haven't discovered it yet. So I'm sort of like keeping the fidget spinners off to the side.
And there's the need of, like, my daughter has like a giant, she's 10, she's a box of fidget stuff. And I'm like, wait, isn't that for 18-month-olds? Like these little puppets and stuff? I'm like, nah. But you know what? Anything to try to manage the anxiety. It's been a hard year for everyone. And I think sometimes we forget how hard it's been on our kids.
Yes. I was like so excited that the vaccine was approved for 12 to 15-year-olds. I was like, let's just get this, because everybody, older people or empty nesters or like grandparents, everyone's like, oh, thank God, like the vaccine. I'm like, it's not over. Like all of us parents are in it still with like pods and,
I haven't gotten vaccinated yet because I still had the antibodies from having had COVID. And my doctor's like, you're going to get sick. You're going to have a reaction. I'm like, okay.
I did it anyway. I got sick and then it passed. But, interestingly, I got Pfizer and I didn't get any more sick than my husband and he hadn't had it. But we both got sick, but he hadn't had it. So I don't know.
Okay. How many days did it last?
I got it like Friday at noon. By Sunday afternoon, I was like 100%. But I will say I had like really scary full body like shakes. I was so cold. But you know what? Aside from that,
I don't see that. I know. I'm like, when do I want to do that again? I'm like, I'm deciding when I want to do that again.
Yeah, I picked a weekend and I felt like maybe it was, I don't know. So Meaghan, in terms of writing, you said you love to write and writing saves you and changes your mood and all of that. How much writing, like what types of writing are you doing now? I know you do a lot for the magazine and, you have a full-time job and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the tricky part is I'm the editor-in-chief of Woman's Day. So, I mean, and I have a 2-person staff. So I write half the magazine. So that's, yeah, I mean, it's, it's interesting times in the media landscape, right? So, I mean, like I'm doing everything from writing like a wreath how-to and pulling merch for like here, you can buy this doormat. And I get to write my editor's letter, which I quite love. I love having a conversation with the audience, but I'm also doing things like writing the cover lines and writing the marketing materials and writing pitches. And then I always carry around, it's over there, I always carry around a notebook Because now already I just gave birth to this book, and already it's like, okay, what's book number 2? Isn't that the weirdest thing that happens to authors? It's like, just as you have a kid, like you're still breastfeeding and like oozing, and they're like, okay, are you having another? And you're like, didn't I just give birth? Like,
It's
so
crazy.
I'm already trying to figure out what I want to do for 2, and it won't be a waterproof sex book. I'm confident of that.
We have to dig that one up.
I have it. And I also wrote Naughty Notes to Leave Your Guys. Naughty Notes to Leave Your Guy was stickies, like naughty sticky ideas.
Wow. And you could actually pull them out of the book?
You could pull them out and leave them around the house.
That's clever.
Right?
Yeah. Always thinking.
Also not on my bio. But
Oh my gosh. Well, should we open it up also to some questions? So for anybody who's in the chat, I know they've all been sort of chatting with us along the way, or some of them have. But if any of you who are listening have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Why is my face so red? I just looked in the screen. I don't know why my face is so red.
No, it looks great. And
Oh,
your
yeah?
glasses are so cute. No, you're so right about book number 2, or thinking like before I was even remotely involved in this industry, it was like, oh, my dream would be to write a book, right? It wasn't like my dream is to write a book, but then I'm going to analyze the sales numbers, and then like I'm going to feel really bad about my book when like it's not rising, or it's too low, or it's this or it's that, and like now I'm going to stress about my book, and now I'm going to do marketing for my book, and then I'm going to think about my next book, and then I'm going to can I call myself an author, and can I do it? And there's so much in your head about it.
Oh my God, and I don't understand the business of books. So that's what's been very challenging for me. I've been a magazine editor for 25 years. Like, I know how to analyze my newsstand numbers, and I understand how to analyze my my MIC costs and like my advertising. Like, I don't understand the business of books. So I literally emailed my team at Penguin Random House yesterday, and I'm like, am I doing okay? What are the success metrics? Like, how do you know? I'm like, I feel like I'm trying really hard, but I don't know.
The bookstore is Amanda's asking the story behind my scarf. Well, I will tell you. The story behind my scarf is I got it in a book box this morning. There's an author named Deborah Goodrich Royce, and she owns the Ocean House where I'm having this retreat in November. And she wrote a book called Ruby Falls. And I got like the box of all boxes this morning. It had a scarf and like really nice sunglasses and a really nice candle that my husband thought I bought just for him because it was so thoughtful. And I was like, oh, I don't want to tell him I was in the gift box, but I already posted about it. So
you put it all on. I loved that.
So I put it all on. I know. I was like cracking myself up this morning. I had like 1,000 other things I was supposed to be doing. And I was like, well, I'm just going to try it all on. Anyway, that's where the scarf is from.
Oh,
So yes, very important. That's what you thought. Yes, there you go. What are our latest book recommendations?
Oh, I'm liking. Okay, wait.
Mental mess.
I like her. I like she's a neuroscientist, and she's quite Dr. Caroline Leaf. I quote her in my book, and I want to be friends with her. So I hold on to her book and I read it religiously because in my brain someday we'll be friends.
I bet you will. I just finished this again because I had Anna Quinlan today on my Zibby's virtual book club, and that was really fun. Nanaville was fantastic. Adventures in Grandparenting. If you missed giving this to someone you love over this holiday, which actually I'm realizing I never did because my mom came to book club and I was like, what'd you think about the book? And she like made up some excuse. Anyway, so I think I better send that to my mom now, even after the fact. But I love Anna Quinlan so much. And I feel like I've read every novel and nonfiction book, memoir, essay. I don't know. I like inhale her stuff. So I read that again recently.
I wanted to get that from my mom, who is Nana. I meant to do that.
I meant to do that too. There's too much in everybody's plate. I mean, I'm reading now. Sunny Hostin from The View wrote Sunny and the Bluffs. Anyway, I'm interviewing her tomorrow. And what else am I doing? What would Frida do?
Yeah, Ariana Davis. So these are she's one of my coworkers. She works at Oprah, Oprah Daily, and this is A Guide to Living Boldly. That's a pretty good one, and it's pretty on a coffee table.
That is pretty on a coffee table.
Right?
And we could bulk up the yellow in the bookcases I usually have behind me.
What else? I have my little mini bookshelf of all my friends. That's what happens. I think all our friends write books, and then you're like, oh, I want to share.
Yes, I'm in my son's room, so I can't really show much.
Oh, I have also my other. This is a good. So Terry Cole, Boundary Boss. She's a psychotherapist. I actually quote her in my book too. She does a lot of nice work with creating boundaries and how to decide if a friendship is toxic and extricating toxic relationships. I call them energy vampires from your life. So this was a good one.
I just actually interviewed this morning Maggie O'Farrell about her book Hamnet, which I just finished, which was so good. I don't know if anybody listening has read Hamnet. Everybody was talking about it, and I was like, I don't know. It just like doesn't sound like it's up my alley about like Shakespeare, and it took place in like the 15. I don't know. It was so good. It was so good. So
the audiobook for Sunny's is I know Sunny because she's on The View, right? I feel like I did The View with her or something. I bet you that would be really good.
It's good, actually. It's but I wish I were reading it on a beach, but it's good. It's it's Sam said, Hamnet was so different and great. I thought it was great. This
is another good one, Modern Mom Probs. So this is from she's a really great Instagram account called @ModernMomProbs, and it's like, it's kind of like that, like laugh out loud, been there, done that kind of mom meme kind of thing. It's sort of like the light version of your authors.
Got it. Very cool.
Fun.
What else did I read this weekend? I literally just read like 5 books on the plane yesterday. What was I reading? This is like, my mind is a goner. I read Dear Black. No, it wasn't. That's not what it's called. Okay. Well, forget me. Anyway, I've read lots of great stuff, and there's lots of good stuff coming out.
How are you having time to do your memoir when you do so much reading?
Well, every other weekend I don't have my kids. They go with their dad. And so, because I'm divorced and remarried, so I have more time on those weekends. So I'm basically have decided I'm just going to write it on those weekend mornings.
And no pressure outside of that.
And I'm just going to not worry about it. And if I happen to have free time, which I won't, I'll do it then, at night or something. But I really like having those, I'm like you, I get up really, really early, and my husband's a normal person, so he sleeps till a normal time. So I'm often, when it's just the two of us, he'll wake up and I'm like, I've been up for 4 hours and I've read 2 books and I've written my memoir. He'll be like, what? Where's the coffee?
Now, do you have like journals from being like from your teen years that you're kind of looking back on? Nothing like that.
No, I'm just, no, I'm not going that far back. Well, that's not true. I'm sprinkling in things just so you like understand. But a lot of it is centering on like losing Stacy and 9/11 and like how that was a turning point. And now I'm trying to like link it all. But through everything, I'm weaving in all these books that I was reading at the time and all that stuff. Someone's asking how we get up at 5. Well, I also like don't ever want to go out at night.
Yeah. That's the thing is I sleep train. I protect my sleep. So this will be done at 8. I'll do a little bit more homework with my 3 kids. I'll be asleep and shut down by 10.
Yeah. I'm more like 10:30, but yes, I'm with you. Sometimes though I go to bed at sometimes I go to bed before my kids, like my older kids. I'm like, I just can't.
Like it's because I have my 10-year-old wants to stay up, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, we could be sleeping right now. I want to go to bed.
Totally. Tell me what you think about this idea while we have 5 more minutes of this. So I've noticed since we're doing a bookstore event now, bookstores all have to put on their own individual events, right? And it's a lot of work for the bookstores. And then all authors have to do all their own unique events for every bookstore. And there's so many bookstores and so many authors, right? So wouldn't it be better if there was I was thinking of building an online marketplace with author interviews that you could subscribe to if you're a bookstore, and then you could pick it. Let's say you want to do Meaghan Murphy's book, you just pick that from the website and put it on your site. So you could basically Getty Images for author interviews type of thing.
I think that's genius, because the thing I'm finding is that it's too high a lift for many bookstores, right? They just don't have You just don't have the bandwidth. So I'm doing very few bookstore events simply because I'm also running a magazine and I don't really have the bandwidth to help
Yep.
organize it.
Right.
So I'm doing fewer than I would have liked to because it's so fun to connect. And I'm the first person to tell people shop local, shop small, go to your local bookstore. If they don't carry it, tell them to. It's way better than Amazon, and I've done a lot of things where I'll go to bookstores and sign the copies. Like I'll travel to sign a bunch of copies and then drive people there because they're autographed or signed, whatever. I think that's a brilliant idea. And it would also save authors because you could just
do it once.
Right.
Like you and I could have our interview. I could have put it on the podcast or something, but then like that would live on there forever. And so 40 different bookstores could then give access to that one interview, and you wouldn't have to go wasting all your time and energy, and you could go back to writing your second book and running your magazine.
I mean, I like this plan.
I like it too. Books and books. What do you think? I'm interested.
Yeah.
Caroline, let us know what you think. Anyway, that's my latest.
I think that's genius. I'm into this plan.
All right. Well, anyway, she's not even there. Well, does anyone have any other questions or anything? It's good for access to people. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What are your kids studying? What homework are you doing tonight?
So my boys are at lacrosse with my husband. He coaches right now, so they'll be home. And my son, Brooksy, does ReadWorks. And it's like I actually love it because I've been learning so much because it'll be like the history of Cinco de Mayo, the history of Mother's Day. It's always sort of timely, but a lesson. And I was like, I feel like I learned something every day. I've learned about algae or whatever. And so we do that, and then we answer the questions. I read it to him, then he reads it to me. Then the voice reads it, and then we tackle the questions. So I actually look forward to that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Excellent.
A little bit of spelling, all the things. Oh, Meaghan, hello from Chatham. Yay. Chatham in the house. We played lacrosse in Chatham on Saturday.
Oh.
And it took longer to get there than I thought. It took like 27 minutes, and we were almost late. And I was like, but isn't Chatham 10 minutes away? That's my story about Chatham. To meet you. Yay.
That's so funny. Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, just a little wrap up of all the different things. One, people listening should go buy Meaghan's book if you don't have it already. Your Fully Charged Life. It's orange. You can't miss it. It's amazing. And, while you're shopping, just grab a copy of Moms Don't Have Time To in case you don't have time to and you want to read an essay or two, or give it as a gift or something like that. And then the shirt that Meaghan's wearing. You can go to the Citizens for Humanity site and feel good getting a shirt, helping others, and donating to COVID research. And support Books and Books, and buy some books from there. Do a bunch of shopping while you're at it. And there's the link. So yeah, good, perfect. Link to Meaghan's book. So everybody, quickly click and start shopping. And hey.
Hey.
What do you think about my online marketplace idea? Did you happen to hear that?
I didn't want to ruin the conversation, but I love it. But the great thing about these events is that the audience can interact with you guys, and that's part of the special aspect of these virtual events. So I would hate to lose that, but I do understand, it's so much work, and we all have virtual fatigue. So I don't think it's a bad idea.
All right. Yeah, I know there is that interactive part. It's too bad you couldn't. Well, I'll keep thinking. Anyway.
But yeah, if you guys have any closing remarks, this was such a great conversation. It seems like everyone in the audience had a wonderful time too.
Oh, well, thanks for letting us be informal and chatting. This was like, this recharges me, like chatting with somebody and having fun and connecting and laughing. Like now I can go deal with bedtime in a much better state than I was in before.
Well, that's what we love to hear. Well, Zibby, Meaghan, thank you so much. And as Zibby said, you can click the green button, and I put Meaghan's link in the chat. And I think most of Zibby's website and most of merch podcast links, those are all on the Crowdcast landing page, so you can just head back there and check everything out there too.
Thank
you so much, guys.
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks for
Bye, guys.
coming, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.